Hey friends, welcome to Positive Power with your host Michele Dionne. Thank you for joining me for another week. Wow, it's beautiful out. We're finally in the right season. Absolutely love it. So, today I wanted to talk to you about something that's a little bit of a tougher topic with people. So we've been talking about self-fulfillment, gratitudes, making yourself first, self-preservation over selfishness, very important things. And so today we're going to talk about something which is a very good indicator of where you're at in your journey of self-love. You know, quite often we say, or I say, I don't know, somebody says, you can't be part of a two if you're not a complete one. And a good way to gauge where you're at in your journey as far as loving yourself is how you struggle or don't struggle with going out alone. Do you have issue going out alone? And what I mean by that is just, would you go out for dinner alone? Would you go to the show alone? Where would you go alone? I've actually traveled across Canada by myself. You can really overthink that. And I made a conscious decision not to. Had a great time. Totally comfortable with it. So I want you to ask yourself, how comfortable are you with that? You know, and we talk sometimes about simple things like, sure, you do your groceries by yourself, you go get gas by yourself. But what about other things? It's a great way to do self-reflection, and it's also a great way to get to know yourself. How much of the things that you do or that you think or whatever are actually geared by you? Like you, what you really want. You know, nobody knows you as good as you know yourself. So we do so many things to appease other people. We do things that other people want us to do, things that, you know, we're geared towards, and then you're like, well, that's okay, I'll do that. But you're not really putting yourself first. You're not doing what you really want to do. So if there's something that you really want to do, and it means that you go by yourself, would you go? Very important question. Think about it. So my challenge for you this week is I'd like you really to put some effort into doing things alone. You know, and if you're not used to it, if it's not something you're really comfortable with, start easy. You know, a good one is going to the library. People see people at the library by themselves all the time, right? Going to the library, going to the lunch counter. It's another culture where people only have 30 minutes for lunch. So they're used to, you don't feel maybe out of place. And I'm going to tell you something. That's you overthinking that. I was a waitress for years. And we never thought anything about seeing somebody come eat a meal by themselves. They might think something about it. Think, oh, everybody thinks that I don't have a partner. Oh, everybody thinks that I'm undateable or whatever. That's only you that's thinking that. Other people aren't thinking that. Honestly, when you're out by yourself for a meal, there's two things that people are thinking. One, nothing, because they're not even noticing. Two, well, isn't she lucky? She's on her own. She doesn't have to put up with negative Ned or Debbie Downer, right? Quite often they're envious. You see that all the time. So, you know, I want you to think about that and embrace being alone. You have to love yourself first. And you're an awesome person. And when you're out by yourself, two things are going to happen. One, self-reflection. So it's a great time, like I said, to get to know yourself better. Self-reflection. Reflect on those memories. Reflect on those limiting beliefs. Once you acknowledge the beliefs that are limiting you, you can acknowledge them and let them go. And then you know what happens? You move forward, right? So that's a great thing. And another thing is one of my favorite pastimes, and this is without judgment, people watching. Oh, what a fun game that is. Years ago when I met my brother Tom for the first time, I met him not quite 20 years ago. And it was a really cool story. We'd never actually seen each other face to face, totally just through pictures. So he was coming to the Toronto airport from BC, and I was coming from Sarnia, so I took the Robert Q. I thought he was landing, and he was supposed to be landing at, I don't know, sometime in the morning, but they changed his flight. He didn't actually land until like the last flight of the day. So I had like 12 or 14 hours by myself in this airport, no cell phone. We had pay phones back then, you know, the phones stuck to the wall. Anyways, so All that time, oh my gosh, I had an adventure in my head. Watching all these people, I was in college at the time, so I did some schoolwork while I was sitting there. But I would watch all these people, and in my head, using my imagination, I would be imagining what I thought the scenario was. So I would imagine, I'd see a wife waiting for the husband, and I'd just do a little scenario in my head, what I thought. He was on a trip, a business trip. Maybe I thought that they were, whatever, depending on their reaction, depending on how they bonded together, or somebody that had a child with them and the child was sort of hesitant. And I'd be like, oh, Billy's in trouble, whatever. I'm just playing a game in my head. But it is a great activity to do, anything you do by yourself, because you're with people you like. When I talk to myself, I'm getting expert advice. And you are just getting to know yourself. You can leave when you want. You can come when you want. You can have the extra stuff, whatever. Go see the play that maybe nobody ever wants to go see this stuff with you. Go by yourself. Enjoy your own company, right? Very important that we do that. And that's a great way when you feel comfortable enough that you can go out for dinner, go out, see a show, do something by yourself. You'll meet people. That's how you meet people. That's how you're in the right place at the right time, right? So I'd like you to be comfortable with yourself enough that you can go out, and if it's baby steps, there's still steps. Be comfortable enough that you can go do things by yourself that you enjoy, things that make your heart hum. You might find you want to do that more than doing stuff with other people, and that's okay too. We tolerate a lot of things from people that we don't necessarily need to, just for fear of being alone. Think about that. Makes sense, right? That is just a bad habit that we've gotten into. Nothing wrong with being alone, because you're with your own best friend. No one knows you as good as you do. So take care, friends. That's your challenge for this week. Don't forget how absolutely awesome you are, and look after yourself. You're totally worth it.